Welcome, Bearcat fans, to UC Bearcats on the Prowl, part of the Grueling Truth Radio Network. As always with me, Mark Fightmaster. Mark, who's our guest today?
Well, tonight, James, after last weekend's debacle out at Temple, I declare this week a football-free zone. So we've got Terry Nelson with us. You guys all know him from the Final Four team and with his work with the Cats now. So, Terry, welcome to the show.
I appreciate it. The debacle, huh? You get to start that way.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. They got up and then started playing scared. So I don't care about tonight. We got so.
Yeah, it was a rough game. I mean, well, they were down early, then they came back and were up, and then they were down again, and it just headache.
They played scared. So
I was running around. I think I was refereeing that day. They lost. I was doing something.
You didn't miss much, man. You didn't miss much.
Yeah.
So
basketball season, guys.
Exactly, basketball. We had the red and black. And Terry, I assume you were there.
Yes, I was. Red and black scrimmage.
All right. Who impressed you?
Who did impress me? I like seeing the guard-oriented style with this group of guards. I love the way Kane Broome attacks. I love the way that he can catch that ball and go downhill. And then he's really increased his vision. It really happened last year. The last 15 games of the season led the team in assists and scoring. And so he was just one of those guys that was on a tear. He benefited from the double teams from Gary Clark, the emphasis on Jacob Evans, the double teams on Kyle, even though Kyle still was shooting shots, shooting shots with double teams. But he really capitalized from that because he's got unbelievable and unlimited range. I mean, he just continued to lock in and get better. He learned on the fly. When you see him now, he doesn't get those offensive fouls on the breakaway. That's how he got his name, the freight train. And so he started to cross over. I asked him at Game 5. It was like 5 games in. And he had more offensive fouls than total fouls. Jeez. And so I said, how many times are you going to come on a fast break and run a dude over without crossing him over or hop-stepping or sidestepping or Euro-stepping or something to get around the guy? He goes, man, the dude's fouling me. I said, keep telling yourself that and keep sitting on the bench. And so he thought about it. And like the next game, he goes out, same situation, guys loading up to take the charge on him. And normally he would try to chip him and try to, get a little and one off the glass, but he crossed the dude over and put it up off the glass and got fouled. And I said, doesn't that make sense? And ever since then, he stopped getting those offensive fouls, those little cheap ones, saved the tournament game. But he stopped getting the cheap ones and started to realize that when somebody's in front of me, I can make plays. I can throw it to guys because of the double team. He always believes, every scorer believes they can beat the first guy. And so So when he attacks guys, his vision, his head is he can see legs. Sometimes when his head is up, he's looking to see where he can make plays. Other times when his head is down, he's reading legs and bodies and angles, and he's seeing that if your legs are a certain way, he's going to either hard dribble and pull dribble back and try to get you to fall and shoot that step back shot, or he's going to just one dribble and then barrel downhill and try to use his body to LeBron James you and get into you and shoot it off the glass. But his vision, Kane Broome, black and gray scrimmage, he was incredible. His slickness. Now he missed a lot of floaters here and there, but the ooh and ah factor, what we all thought when he transferred from Sacred Heart, to see him in action now, confident, like Coach Cronin is going to leave him alone. When he was a red shirt as a transfer, he was one of those guys that oohed and ahed in practice, and everybody came to say, oh, man, I can't wait till this guy come back because, you know what, Troy will be gone, we'll be more explosive. And when he got in there the second year, when he was actually eligible, you're no longer on scout team. See, when you're on scout team, nobody really cares about the mistakes you make because you're impersonating somebody else and you want to see your defense against that particular person. So he played carefree his first year. His second year, when he was eligible, everything was accountable now. He had to be accountable for his turnovers. And so, Coach Cronin, he doesn't deal with turnovers. So you sit the ball over. You sit down if you turn the ball over. So he was picked on early on in the season because he turned the ball over. And he was, Cronin was really messing with his head, breaking him down to build him back up. All good coaches do that to players, and you want to build them in your image. Because Cronin just he's trying to make them tough. He's, because he's got unbelievable skill, but he doesn't have the killer instinct. And Cronin's trying to instill that I need you to attack every time. Doesn't mean you have to score, but I need you to attack, and I need you to have some get back in you. Not just offensively, but defensively. Guy going to keep scoring on you. Have a little toughness. Have some competitiveness about you. So you saw that it was very evident in that. Trey Scott, to see Trey Scott's evolution, we were in some of the practices earlier this year, and, Cronin's in practice, and he's yelling at guys to swing the ball, and it's sticking, it's moving. And after practice, I said, Trey, your first 2 years, when Cronin is yelling, swing the ball, he's telling you and everybody else, swing it to Gary, Clark, Kyle, and Jacob. I said, those guys are gone. So when he's yelling, swing the ball, he's telling them to swing it to you and Jaron Cumberland and Kane. He goes, I never thought about that. I said, man, you're in the free throw line. You shouldn't be pivoting around looking at who you can pass the ball to. You should be trying to score. He said, yeah, I got you, T-Nail. I got you, T-Nail. And ever since then, he has been like, he catches the ball, he jumps out of the gym, but his skill level, because he, in the post, he's a pretty good ball handler. Handling the ball on the break, he's not such a good ball handler. But he has a 42-inch vertical jump. He has 6'7". He's got long arms. He's got broad shoulders. He has quick jumping ability like Kenyon Martin, Eric Martin, those quick jumpers, those guys, as soon as they leap there at the top of their jump, he's got that kind of quickness. Gary Clark had the same thing. So he gets rebounds out of his area. So he's one of those guys that stood out instantly because he was active around the basket. He's added a 15-footer, occasional corner three. He's going to try it, but he's trying to expand it in practice, and Cronin is giving the room because Cronin wants him to be, improve his game, shoot some threes, stretch it. Cronin doesn't care about the shots you take. He only worries about the effort that you give and giving back and getting back on defense and making the right play. But if the play is there, he wants you to shoot the ball. So those three really, really stood out when you look at in terms of, man, if they have some big, Nasir Brooks, he looked really good too. But, when you're playing against your own teammates, sometimes, you know how to shine. You don't want to hurt nobody. But he looked good. He little jump hook here and there. He has some dunks. He screened well. He rolls. He slides his feet well for a big man. My only issue with him last year that we're trying to address this year is that he doesn't dunk the ball enough. He tries to, Tim Duncan it almost. He's always keeping it up high and shooting soft shots around the basket. I'm like, man, that's good if you got a lower person around you, a smaller person around you. Keep it up. But you got somebody just your size. You got to power down, get your body underneath you, and go up and try to dunk it, because you're too small to be trying to lay it up. So last year it frustrated me because he didn't get a lot of dunks. He didn't, he faded away from contact and really didn't have that man in him like Gary had or Kyle had under the basket. And so this year you're starting to see a little bit of maturation to where he's starting to take some chances, like this mental hurdle that he has. Like I still believe he thinks he's 6'2". He's sprouted up, and so he's got shorter arms. He doesn't have the really big hands, and he's not as confident as he should be because he's tall. He runs the floor well. He's got all the physical tools, but sometimes he doesn't have the belief system that will allow him to be this power player. But you're starting to see some signs of it, and that was encouraging seeing it in the red and black scrimmage.
Good. So what's the personality of this team going to be like now without Gary and Jacob and Kyle and those guys?
You got a lot of leaders. You got a lot of people this team is hungry, so they all want to make a name for themselves. So you may see some ugly games this year. You may see some games where they necessarily may not shoot it as hard, but you're going to see a team that's going to overachieve and scrap because they have the guards to pick up full court. They have the frontline guys to be able to rotate in the back of the press. So this is one of the teams that Cronin has been looking to have for a long time because with Kyle, you have to hide Kyle. You know, Kyle was a force offensively. Give him the ball, he gets you some big buckets. He may even get a block shot, you know, here and there. You know, he may get a dunk. But defensively, he couldn't do the stuff that Trey Scott can do. He can't do the stuff that Nasir Brooks can do. He can't do the stuff that Mamadou Diarra can do. I mean, those guys can fly. And so the back of the press will look good. So you're going to see a team with a personality of guys that are going to be constantly going at you, because this offense is geared around everybody being able to make plays. So you're going to see people put it on the ground or get a rebound and take it and push it. And it's going to really catch defenses off guard, because your bigs are going to have to match up with these bigs. And Trey and Mamadou in at the same time is a problem, because Mamadou is probably the fastest guy on the team. I mean,
really?
He's 6 foot. Yes, he runs like a deer, and he jumps and he doesn't get tired. His understanding of the game has got to get better, and it is. But he is a freak of nature as an athlete. He doesn't get tired. He jumps out of the gym. He can handle the ball. He can shoot. I mean, he'll be a guy that will turn it over trying to make a play, run down the other side of the floor, block the shot off the backboard, give it up to a guard, run the floor. The guard will miss it. He will catch it off the rim and dunk it, all in one sequence, and get over the ball and start pressing. I mean, he's a dynamic athlete. And Cronin is, you know, yet to unleash him yet, and he'll get some of the same treatment that all the guys get when you expect greatness out of them. You know, Cronin's going to pick on him a little bit. He's going to be hard on him. He's going to demand more out of him because he can give more. And if Mamadou gets out of his head, you know, when he was in high school, he thought he was going to be a one-and-done player. If he can get out of his head, if he can get that out of his head and just focus on, you know, first of all, being a student, that they already have that taken care of. But basketball-wise, if he can just focus on the process of just getting better every day and just embracing just getting better and learning something every day, this guy has unbelievable potential. He has the most potential on this roster. He is just a freak like that.
Very cool. James?
Yeah. Terry, at the end of the red and black game, how impressive was that last shot there by Kane Broom when he was able to didn't tie it or anything like that, but just, I mean, that it showed his intensity and how much they cared about the game, still going for the shot at the end.
Kane's going to surprise a lot of people with just how crafty and how good he is with the ball. You saw it last year. So seeing at the black and red scrimmage, man, just him having the confidence to know that he can just about do anything he wants with the ball. Defensively, he can make you dance a little bit. You know, you sitting there trying to guard him, and he can put you on skates. He can do a lot of stuff and ooh and ah. And he'll convert more of those as he gets more comfortable. I mean, you saw it last year in the Wichita State game. I mean, on the road, in their place, last game of the season for the conference championship. And in the second half, man, he took over the show. Justin Jennifer didn't really play in the second half. Cronin said, I'm going with my best players. When he was out there, him and Jacob Evans, Jacob was cramping up. And he hit a couple of floaters, a couple of runners. He hit a big three, and he took over for a period of time in the second half and steadied the game for us to go ahead and Jacob Evans and Kyle and Gary to close the show out for him, and that block at the end by Nasir Brooks. But he has this ability to take over games. And to see what he's going to bring to the table this year, I think he's going to have some pretty electric games, and it's going to be really, really sweet to have it in the new arena.
Yeah, speaking of players that, you know, seem like they're going to take over the game, Cumberland just each year it feels like he's going to really step out of the shadows and be huge. And he's put the work in. You know, when he first got there, you know, he's still the guy who's never eaten fruit. Cumberland does not like fruit. Never ate a banana. Peaches, doesn't like the texture of fruit. And so just putting him on supplements and having shakes and all the stuff that he can get with his, you know, his nutrition, because all he had was macaroni and cheese and chicken nuggets. That's his favorite meals, you know. And so just starches. So that's why he had that big body when he came in. And when they got him on the nutrition plan, he instantly dropped 20 pounds. It made him faster, made him more mobile. He's got to get more explosive, but he's He's already been fast, but his quickness picked up. It allowed him to compete. He had more energy on the defensive end. Just seeing that transformation from his freshman to his sophomore year, and then the transformation now from his sophomore to his junior year, is you're starting to see the maturation of somebody who is embracing as the guy, and he knows it because he was this in high school, and he thought he should have played more as a freshman. He was that competitive, like he thought he was better than the guys that were in front of him, and he had some games to prove that. Not on the road, but, at home he has some games to really prove that. So this year, it's like he is really taking command by being a leader that gets everybody involved, but yet still knows how to knock it down. I mean, I can honestly see him averaging 20 and 7 easily with this group, because it's going to come down to he's going to have his hands on the ball a lot. They're going to run some of the same plays they ran for Sean Kilpatrick, those baseline screens and running the offense through him, because he's not always going to score, but he's your big game player. He proved it in the tournament. The first round game where he had 27 of the big games. And then the next game he came back and he was like almost 20, and then he fouls out. So he was proving the bigger the stage, the bigger he plays, because some people just rise to the occasion. Now he's going to be in a new arena. He's going to have some big-time teams coming into our new arena with UCLA and Ohio State and Xavier, and we got NKU, and we got some pretty big, and then we got to go to Mississippi State. So in our arena, it's going to be some big games, and he's going to step up to the challenge because he just plays that way. I mean, he loves the big stage, and he likes it when guys talk trash. And so part of this little thing, let me give you a little nugget here. Part of when you come in, some of the initiation that some of these athletes have to do, a lot of that stuff has been taken out. You can't put towels overhead and, punch guys and pour beer on them and all that stuff. But what you're seeing now with Jaron Cumberland and Logan Johnson go at it in practice, I'm telling you. And Jaron gets the best of it. But Logan is so competitive. And, Logan can't shoot right now. But Logan he's lightning fast. I think both of them may be the two fastest with the ball. They're just lightning quick. But I think what Cumberland is doing is he sees something in Logan, and he's sharpening his teeth on him. And he's really going at him. He's challenging him in practice, see what he has. And sometimes he backs off, try to bait him and shoot the shot. Cumberland does to Logan. And he does, and then he misses it. And then once he goes down, he makes a play and scores. And then when that ball goes through the hoop and Cronin blows the whistle, he goes right by him. Cumberland goes right by him and then starts talking to him. And started getting in his head. And then Logan is getting more mad because, he can't hit him from the perimeter. And then all of a sudden Logan gets a rebound. Off the rebound, he pushes it the length of the floor, and it's poetry in motion. He cannot be stopped on that fast break. I mean, I think he's going to dunk on somebody. He's that explosive as an athlete. But in transition, he gets to that hole. He can finish left hand, right hand. Do you know he's a natural left-hander? Did you know that?
No.
He's a natural left-hander, but he shoots right. He's a natural right-hander.
Okay.
But he shoots left. A natural right-hander, but he shoots left. And he does that because Tyler, his brother, was left-handed, and he wanted to do everything his brother did. So when he grew up, he wanted to be just like his brother, so he started shooting with his left hand, even though he was right-handed. He tried to pattern his entire game after his brother. So that's why he started shooting with his left hand. And so, but around the basket, because he's ambidextrous, he can finish like no other guard we've ever had. He's a lot like what's the guard now for the LA Lakers who played for Connecticut? Yeah, but it's on top of my tongue. It'll come to me. But he's a lot like he's attacking. And I ask him because every time he goes to the hole and he lays it up, and sometimes he'll miss it because it'll go off the back of the rim. And Cronin was like, "Would you stop putting your hand under the ball? Put your hand on top of the ball and dunk the damn thing." And so he goes, yeah, I'm going to do that. So I think in one of these big games, because he plays with so much emotion and passion, that when his adrenaline's flowing and he gets one of those fast breaks and he's in traffic, he's going to go up, and he's going to go up to dunk it. I don't know if you ever seen Tyler Johnson play. YouTube him.
Okay.
6'4", just signed a big contract with him. He dunks on a lot of people.
Okay.
At 6'4", he gets a lot of bounce in him, so he plays a lot like his brother. And he wants to be a lot like his brother, but he wants to make his own name. And he's got a different style, but he patterned his game early on after his brother. And then once he got good himself, he tried to, make a name for himself. So he goes on a different path. But he is an explosive talent, man. And they go at it every day.
Mm. That's good.
Most teams get to go out and have fun in the summer. The Bahamas, of course, UK went down there and played their games. Other teams play in other tropical places. UC went to Canada. Probably not as much fun, but what did they learn up there in Canada?
Well, one game, the one that got blew out by 20, that's their university team, and it's pretty much like Duke. They recruit from all over. They're like a transfer haven for people to go there. And so you got 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds. They're bigger, they're physical, they're older. They play a passing, cutting style, sort of a international style, and it really UC didn't get a chance to set their press or set their defense. They didn't work on defense much. They was working on putting in sets and running offense, and you do some defensive drills, but you don't necessarily teach a lot of defense because you only get 10 days. And so they just got cut up. They had no communication, a bunch of new guys. Normally it was Gary, it was Kyle, it was Jacob. They were all talking. Kyle couldn't play defense, but he was a great communicator in that back line. He can sit over there and he can talk, he can point out. He was, getting guys where they're supposed to. He was calling screen left, screen right. And so although he didn't move his feet, he blocked shots, and he was a great communicator. And they don't have that now. And so you're starting to see more guys starting to talk and really pick it up. They realize that the defense only works if everybody's on the string. I mean, you got to be calling out screens. This is a pick-and-roll league now. I mean, everybody is doing on-the-ball screens. And if you have guys that don't talk and don't communicate, your defense will be cut in half. And they got shredded that game, and it made them realize that, you know what, we're good defensively because we were on a string. We're not good defensively because we got the best athletes. We're good because everybody trusts everybody that if this screen comes, I know that my man's going to step right up and guard the guy, hedge, recover, pull him back. He's not going to sit there and be at the free throw line saying screen left and let that guy come off that screen and get a wide open shot. So when they played against older guys, and these older guys were experienced, and they cut them deep, and then they got back on track. But what they learned in Canada is it was a great test for them, but they got a chance to get the bubble popped a little bit because they was full of themselves. A lot of guys were, still riding that wave of the last couple years' success. He's really rebuilt this program, so their heads were kind of, feeling themselves a little bit, and they go out there and they're playing with a lot of spunk. They got some pretty good recruits there. They're all contributing, and then all of a sudden they get smacked in the mouth, and it's like, damn. Then they realize, wait a minute, man, we ain't that bad. We ain't that bad defensively. Then they go out and they win. So, but they got to realize that this team is as good as their communication. But when they communicate, they really get after it. And then it's going to be really fun because, the great thing about depth, 1 to 11, these guys could be starters. I mean, they can all play. Kane, your top 3 are going to play regardless. They're going to be in the game. Kane, Trey Scott, and Cumberland. Those 3 are going to be your core. Justin's going to settle your team, but when you want to get really, really good, you want Kane, you got to have his hands on the ball. So Kane's got to have his hands on the ball. And Keith Williams off the bench, he's going to get close to double figures, if not more, off the bench. He's going to be like Yinke Dare from George Washington way back in the day.
Yeah. Oh, my
Only
gosh.
guy in the NCAA that never had an assist.
Yeah. Oh, my
Keith
gosh.
Williams, man. Keith is, when he goes to the hole, he's got horse blinders on. He doesn't see nobody. But he gets in cracks and crevices, and he uses his shoulders and his strong body. He's used to scoring. He's a playground player that's playing college ball. So he's got that junkyard game to him. Like, he don't really need an offense. Like, if that ball is coming around, the minute he touches it, he thinks it's his turn to attack. And so when he's attacking, he's attacking the score. Now, it's been working against, his own team, but it always looks good, and it looked good last year against our own team. Then we started playing better competition, and they wasn't on that. They was like, no, you can't shoot. We're going to back up a little bit. And so he's worked, even though it's ugly, he's worked on his mid-range game and his pull-up jump shots, which they've been going in. So I can see why he was, New York City Player of the Year, because you're starting his competitiveness. He's strong. He gets up. But he's he's not going to lead the team in no stretch of the imagination in assists. But he's one of those guys, man, that he can go and get you buckets. The offensive rebounds. He'll play tough defense. He's not going to talk. He is very quiet. If it's a 2-on-1 fast break, he may give it up to you for you to give it back to him. I mean, he really, really wants the ball. So it's going to be interesting to see how he fits in, but he's perfect in that second unit, because in that second unit, when you take out one or two of those guards and you have Cumberland in the game in one wing and you got Keith in the game, but the other wing, Keith is always attacking. And what Cumberland is doing, he's always attacking, but Cumberland is looking to set other guys up. So you're going to see a lot of baseline dunks from the bigs who just sit on the block waiting on somebody to penetrate and dish to them. That's what Cumberland is going to provide. But Keith Williams is one of those. He's a tough cat, man. He's a tough cover.
Okay. What should we expect to see in the exhibition game to prepare them for of course, their first challenge, Ohio State?
Well, you want to see fluidity in the offense. You want to see movement. You want to see guys playing together and playing for each other. You want to see defensively guys on a string. You're going to see it, break down maybe here or there, but it's really fine-tuning your defense. This is going to be one of those pre-tests that you have before you open up with Ohio State. So you got to have, for the whole university, it's a scrimmage that you get a chance to get the whole arena going, work out the kinks, make sure the ribbon boards are working, game operations get a little test, because it's going to be on, ESPN, I believe.
Okay.
That game, and it's a featured game. And it's one of those games that everybody is going to want to see, and the whole state of Ohio is going to be watching for sure, and the tri-state's going to be tuned in. But it's a national treasure, this game, because it hasn't been played in the regular season since, 1906.
Yeah.
And so it's just a long rivalry that has never really got a chance to develop, because, after we beat them twice in the championship, they was like, no, we ain't playing you no more. We played them a couple of times in the tournament.
Yeah.
But there's no way in the world that Ohio State and Cincinnati should be playing each other. And then Cronin just got a chance to work it out, and it's going to be one of those magic moments opening that arena with Ohio State. So this tune-up game, so to speak, is one to get people in a rotation, see who I can trust, how people are going to play under lights. So the coaching staff, if the coaching staffs are making any last-second hesitations about who is going to be in that rotation from 6 to 10, the scrimmage game will show it.
Okay. How great is it to be back home at Fifth Third Arena?
It's your home, man. I mean, it's always good to play in your home. And then you got a place that you can put your own stamp on, because it's a new arena. It's not refurbished. It's a totally gutted new arena, and it looks nothing like the old arena. It's state-of-the-art. To have you start the legacy of that place. I mean, the legend's been passed on from, way back in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, to Oscar, to George Wilson, you name it, Big Joe Stiffen, Cedric Glover, Jelly Jones, Ronald. I mean, it's just we got a bunch of guys from different eras that built upon brick, and got us in the Fifth Third Arena. And from Fifth Third Arena, out of that Armory Fieldhouse for the Fifth Third Arena, from Riverfront for a year or so, and then all of a sudden here we are in one of the best on-campus facilities in the country, if not the best. And it is just going to put a lot of spotlight on what this campus is. I mean, because we were voted in, Fortune magazine last year, the top 10 most beautiful campuses in all of the world.
Yeah.
And so we just have an urban campus that's awesome. And now you have an arena that's smack dab in the middle that just sort of showcases everything. And it's going to be special, man. I mean, to have this place open and to open it up with Ohio State. Come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
We could not have opened that up with Coppin State. We couldn't, Delaware. We could not have opened that up with Texas Southern. We better not have opened that place up. Regular season, Ohio State. Matter of fact, we could have had the crosstown shootout on that day.
Yeah.
Ohio State is great. Ohio State, your whole off season is based around that first game. Guys are in the gym at night putting in work because they knew they were opening up with Ohio State. Even though we had the most success in our basketball program, it is still a chance to smack Ohio State. So it's a big game to them. It's a big game to the community because they're like, what? And then we just found out today that all of the season tickets are sold out. So 9,000 season tickets have sold out, and the rest are, single game tickets to get, mini packs and all that other stuff. But 9,000 on any given game will be in that new arena, and it's going to be an atmosphere that's going to be so electric that it's going to fuel this team to wins that they probably shouldn't win. Like, I can see them being down 20 points and the energy in the building just yielding them back to victory after victory when they just have bad leads, and all of a sudden they put the pressure on, they start hitting shots, and the place goes crazy. And the other team starts to just melt and it snowballs. And I can see us coming back from large leads because the energy in the building, especially year number one, is going to be out of the roof. So I don't care what team comes in there, they may leave bleeding.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
I would like to call my shot now. Looking at the schedule with NKU coming to town the same week, Xavier's going to be there. I think there's a possible trap game there. I think UC could end up overlooking them. Do you think that's a possibility at all?
Overlooking NKU?
Yeah.
No, fans do that stuff with players. No, because you have so many practice sessions where he's attacking you in practice, and he doesn't really care who he's playing. He doesn't really go over a lot. He doesn't really walk through practice and saying so-and-so is going to be doing this to you. He's more concerned about what he does and what his team does. And because when they get the matchup defense going on in the second half or the first half, when they play that style, they're going to know everything that you do. They're going to know your tendencies. That's how they become Mick is such a technician, and he loves stats. And if you ever sit with him, he'll bust your head open with all kind of stuff. He loves stuff. He's one of those guys that sit and watches. And so he's one of those guys that he has this ability to take the energy that he has, take the hate, take the love, and put it on these guys and use that. He doesn't necessarily say Xavier, or he doesn't call names out. He calls individual effort out because he firmly believes that if his team does what they're supposed to do, it doesn't matter, because he already knows as a defensive if he was a football player, he'd be a defensive coordinator.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a great defensive mind, but he has developed this offensive system. Now, his defensive system, it's been tweaked over the years. Ralph Willard, who's the assistant coach at University of Kentucky, actually Louisville, and he told Cronin, how about you take those wings and send them up and have them facing the ball instead of, sitting like in traditional zones where it's man-you ball and you got your, butt to the basket and you got an elbow, you're doing pistols, you're pointing at one man, you're pointing over there. He goes, no, have them sit over there and fan and wave and do jumping jacks facing the guy, and the only pass they can make is one that's high and above because you can see anything else. And so once he did that, defense took off. I mean, the last 2 years, we've been ranked in the top 5 defensively. Last year, we were number 2. And then when you put athletic players on the wings of that defense that can rotate and block shots, and he likes guys that can challenge. Yes, you're going to need some people to take charges, but the other guys, meet me at the rim. We're going to be smacking it. We're going to get it off the rim, and we're going to go. So he's brought an exciting style of ball that has been embraced by the Cincinnati community. It took a long time for people to really embrace him because they wanted, they say he's not Bob Huggins, which he wasn't. And Bob's not him. And he's carved his niche out. I mean, Bob even gave him props and saying, you know what, he's built a great program over the years. And he has. But he's finally got it to the point now where he recruits 4 stars, and it's going to be at the point now where he's going to get some 5 stars here coming up. But he goes after 4 stars because they can develop. They're not one and done players.
Yeah.
And if he can ever get them in, the training and get them through the nutrition program, if you ever look at Mike Rayfield, who is our strength and conditioning coach, our performance coach, he has a great YouTube follower, Instagram follower, Twitter. I mean, he's always posting their workouts. And so if you go through his feed on Instagram, and you'll start seeing the guys before and after photos of when they first came on campus. And these guys thought they were, athletic and all this stuff. But then you see them, 2 months out of the summer, and they've already lost 15 pounds. They're rocked up. They're muscular. And it's like, man, this was only 2 months. And you saw their whole body be transformed because they're doing different functional movements and getting glutes and muscles on the side of their rib cage and building up back muscles for box outs. I mean, there's just so much. It's so detailed. Every muscle is targeted. And we've been blessed to have pretty much no injuries over the course ever since Mike has been taken over because he's getting their bodies so much more flexible and so much more or durable. But when these new guys come on campus, instantly their vertical jump goes up, their body fat goes down. When your body fat goes down, you're more athletic, which means you can jump higher. You can certain get angles to get certain balls when you're playing defense. Stuff's not hurting. You can make certain angles as you're sliding and running and jumping, so you're more agile. So that's why they really focus on getting lean, functional muscles. That's why we don't have the big, burly guys. They got lean, functional muscles that makes them run fast, that makes them react, so they can almost, you do suicides when you're in basketball to teach you how to start and stop. Well, a lot of the training that they do gives you those same muscles, so you don't have to do all the suicides and all the running and stuff. And so they're just in peak shape because their muscles are, they're getting the best of the best, and Mike Rayfield gets those guys going.
So it sounds like they're going to have a tough schedule this year, but with the improvements and with their hard work and just overall talent, they should have another great season.
Oh, yeah. I don't see a dip. I don't know if they're going to win 30 games like they had the last couple of years, but I don't see them not winning less than 20. I think they'll be around that 25 win mark and looking right at a conference championship, in those 1 and 2 slots. They got a lot to prove, though. They got to gel together. They got to figure out. They already know who one of the alphas is, and there's Jaron Cumberland is that alpha. He's one of the only guys that don't get affected by Cronin. Some guys that, it really affected them when he starts yelling at them and cursing at them. And Jaron, he just turns it up. He don't like to hear it, but he turns it up. Certain players, I didn't like to hear it. I would turn it up in a quiet way. I was just like, just don't say nothing to me. Let me do my job. And Nick Van Exel would challenge him. And he would talk back and all that stuff, and he would pout a little bit, and all of a sudden he would turn it up. But certain players like Cumberland, it don't bother him. And that's what alphas, it don't bother alphas. It just, no, I got this. And he goes out and he rises to the occasion. So it's great to know that they got a bunch of talented scorers, but everybody knows who's the alpha on that team. There's a lot of big dogs on that team, a lot of wolves on that team, but it's one guy that if coach is running the play for, at the end, it's going to be him. He's going to be that. You're going to see him in the last 5 to 10 seconds with his hands on the ball, penetrating and kicking for a lot of people. He's just, that ball's going to end up in his hands a lot.
Before we let you go, I wanted to get your thoughts on Gary Clark in Houston and how well he's been doing so far.
Well, he's learning. He's getting in there, and he's learning that NBA system. He's shooting, 500 threes a day, trying to get his percentages up because that's all D'Antoni wants. And so Gary has been relegated to a three-point shooter, which I think is good for him because he can still slide his feet and switch on pick and rolls and rebound the ball, and he communicates well. So defense is natural to him. So that's one thing that he didn't really have to really work on. He got to learn NBA defense, which the beauty about UC is they run an NBA system. And it's a lot of pick and rolls, a lot of screen movements, a lot of, ISO posts, catch the double team, stay spread. So a lot of that stuff is NBA stuff with slashing, and NBA do a little bit more slashing depending on the team. But when you get to Houston, it's a lot of it's stay on the perimeter. You're going to have James Harden. You're going to have Chris Paul. They're going to be dribbling, and you don't know if they're going to pull up and do that little sidestep jump shot. So everybody's watching, and then they have these plays where these guys cut. And it's just cutting back, and all you got to do is, so you get a layup here and there, or it's an on-the-ball screen, it's a 1-5 screen, it's a 1-3 screen, whatever it is, and then they roll to the rim, they throw it to the rim, or if you collapse down, they kick it to the corner. So all he's been working on, Gary, is three-point shooting, getting his three-point shots off. So it's early in the season, and he's not going to see action right now unless there's going to be some injuries. But as he gets better, and as these guys start getting injured, because these big money players, a lot of these guys are, they get injured because if they're mid-level, not the superstars, but your stars, the ones who just got the contracts, they're in the clubs at night. They're in the ones that when they travel on the road, they're still going out. So they don't give their body the definite respect that it needs in order to go to the next level and to endure that pain of the game. That's why you see certain guys look good at home and then look terrible on the road, especially when they used to have those back-to-backs, because those guys are going to the club, they're having women in the place all day, then they try to sleep all day after practice, try to get ready for the game. So Gary's going to get a shot, and he's going to get a chance to play some significantly right about Christmas time, and especially at the end of the season when they're trying to rest players. Now, it depends on if they're in a race for the top 3 or 4 seeds in the West. If they're in that race, they may not rest as much. They may rest 1 or 2 at a time or 1 at a time. But Gary's going to get a lot because they like him, and he's a great guy to be around. And the beauty of when you get a two-way contract, a lot of times it's because you're playing on a team full of superstars, and or a team doesn't have a lot of salary cap. See, in Gary's place, if the salary cap's $142 million, $110 million is in 3 players. So everybody else gets what's left over. In 4 players, everybody else, you got 4 players with $110 million, and then $30 million has got to be split up between 8, 9 other players. And so it's not a lot going along in terms of NBA money. But the reason you sign a two-way is because they like you. They just don't have a lot of money to pay you. So they may, if you're not playing a lot, we'll let you go down and get play in the G League, stay sharp, come back up. You can play up to 45 games with a two-way contract. And they give you $250,000 for a two-way contract opposed to G League, because those guys are only making in between $28,000 and $35,000 a year. So that's why they always tell you when you're in the G League, you got to find you a girlfriend. You got to find you somebody to take you in, and take care of you because you're chasing a dream. So you're in these small towns, and those women out there like, yeah, I'll take you. I want a man. I want an athlete. So, but it's a different lifestyle. So he's going to be up. He's going to be down, but he's going to enjoy that experience because he continue to grow. If he continues to grow, you're going to have opportunities in this league because they like good people. They like guys that can rebound and play defense, and he can shoot the ball, and he's competitive, and he's a good kid.
Mark, do you have any final questions?
Well, just sitting here and listening to you talk, Terry, I can't remember if I asked you this the last time you were on. I know you're happy where you are and doing what you're doing, but, I mean, would you ever consider just hopping over to coaching?
I would consider coaching. I do miss coaching. I coached a couple of years in high school. I coached high school a couple of years. I was video coordinator and a manager at UC when I came back and finished my degree.
Yeah.
I learned so much as a video coordinator because I got a chance to see the game, got a chance to break down film, see that from a strategic standpoint, got a chance to see movement and schemes, and it just opened up a lot in me. So, yes, I would consider coaching if it's a good opportunity. I would love the college level. I would love to be on that level. So,
listening to you talk, that's where I thought you would, that you would go. It's just your knowledge of the game. Obviously, you played it. You played for one of the best coaches around, and now you get to go with them all the time and watch them. I think that'd be awesome for you.
You had that model with a couple guys with North Carolina. I know that happened with Duke. That happened. But you kind of go where you're hot right now, and I have I'm doing all the radio games, but four. It's because I get 4 TV games this year with Fox Sports Ohio.
Oh, sweet.
And which is great. And then I do 9 television and Bearcat Insider, 9 TV shows on Fox Sports Ohio. We had our Bearcat preview show, which is still probably circulating on Fox Sports Ohio.
Okay.
And then we have 8 more that's going to play starting in January.
Sweet.
So, and then I still do sports of all sorts, and then I do the NBA at the finals, NBA Showtime that we do on Channel 9 as well. So I got a good media package. I would love to do more TV games. TV is fun. Okay. And in the sports world, in the radio business, the sports analyst is not the primary. The primary is your play-by-play guy because you got to paint the picture.
Right, yeah.
In the TV world, it's the sports analyst because they can already see the picture.
Okay.
And so your play-by-play guy has a different set of things. He's setting you up. He's asking you questions. He's trying to get your feedback. He's trying to get your knowledge. He wants to draw some experience. He wants you to describe the game. He wants you to tell a story. He wants you to do something, so he's going to lead you. He's going to ask you. And so it's more about your research and what you've uncovered and how can you paint the game for what they just saw. How can you frame a play? And so it's different because you have time to do it. In radio, you don't have a lot of time. So I was happy because, when I first got into TV, I had 6 games, and I had another 6 games, and then it went 5, and then it went 3, and then it went 2 the last 3 years, and then this year we got 4. So it always, as you get better, because radio gets you really good, gets you sharp, gets you in and out. But once you get better, you can take that film and you can have a nice little highlight reel and put your stuff together. So I'm going to make sure I'm very intentional with my 4 TV games because I'm cutting these up for my reels.
Nice. Who are you doing those with?
With what?
Who's going to be the other commentator with you?
Oh, Tommy G. Tommy Gorder is he's my man.
Okay.
So he's going to be my guy.
Sweet.
On TV.
Good one to be with.
Say it again.
That's a good one to be with.
Oh yeah, he says, man, we've had a good time. We've done it together for 6 years now, 6 or 7 years now.
Awesome.
So if fans are wanting to follow you on social media, get some insight in between the shows, in between the games, where's the best place for them to check it out?
TNL33, whether it's Twitter or Instagram. At TNL33. Yep.
Excellent. Yeah, I'll vouch for him. He's an excellent follower on Twitter. I do that. I follow him. So.
Twitter, Instagram, Snap. So the handle is TNL33.
Excellent. Well, I'd like to thank our guest tonight, Terry Nelson, for being on the show. And we definitely want to have you back again on in the future, hopefully maybe before the NCAA tournament.
I appreciate you guys. Good luck to you guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot for coming on, Terry. Good luck this season.
No problem, brother.
Our pleasure.
Take care, guys.
Thank you. As always, he's great.
The man can talk basketball, you know. It's awesome.
Definitely. And that would be great to see him go out there and do some coaching. I mean, I think there's a lot of teams that would definitely benefit from his wisdom, his insight, and just his experience in the game of basketball.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. You know, and that's why I asked that question. Just listening to him talk about how he talks to the players now, you know, his discussion with Kane Broome about using the crossover and, you know, the contact on it, he would be incredible.
Exactly. Let's see. I know we said football free, but SMU's coming up, and do you think they're going to bounce back?
You know what? I hate to say that after your first loss of the season that a game is I'm not saying it's a must-win, but, man, they got to come out and do something different. They just the end of that game, they were so stagnant. It was frustrating. I felt like I was watching the old UC teams from the past couple of years. You know, and with some of that because they came out off of the bye down a little bit. That's possible. Were they believing their own hype? That's possible. You know, so we'll see what happens this week. I'm just looking for improvement. It's not a must-win. It would be a nice-to-win game. Just to see that they made some improvements. So we'll see how these young guys can bounce back.
I know what you mean, because like you said, the schedule is not going to do anything but get tougher as it goes along. Obviously, the stretch of the next 3 games after that are going to be very challenging. Obviously, the ECU game, you know, of course, that's definitely winnable. But the other 3 are going to be quite a challenge, even the home games. So You're right. For this week is a huge opportunity to take them to that next level, to take them to at least a little bit better bowl game. And as they progress along there and maybe get another win or 2 out of the season and get to the game that they want to be in as opposed to the game that they might end up in.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just a chance for us to see, again, what these young guys can do and how they can bounce back. So it'll be, you know, it's a good opportunity. Let's see what Fickle can get his boys to do.
Exactly, because fortunately, the ball had bounced the right way. I mean, there were several games this year that you know, like that game against Temple, could have went wrong. The UCLA game, obviously, that comes to mind, or the OU game. Obviously, that was a really close and competitive game. But fortunately, they were able to find the way and do the things, like you said, that they hadn't done in the past or in the recent past to take the team to the next level.
Right. You know, and I mean, look at the last game. Yeah, they lost. They missed, 3 field goals? It should have never gotten to that point. But, yeah, it did. Like you said, we've been fortunate some of the other games. This time we weren't as – so it happens.
Exactly. So it sounds like there's great things going on at UC. There's, you know, of course, the SMU game on the road. There's the Thursday night game against, I forget who they're playing the exhibition game against. That doesn't really matter. The thing that matters is obviously getting to watch UC play. And then, like Terry was saying, that huge game against Ohio State. I mean, it's nice to see them playing in-state rivals, getting that game back. I mean, like you said, it had been since – 1960 or somewhere around those lines.
It's been a long time.
They hadn't played. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. And then, of course, you know, I had to bring up my Pride and Prejudice in situation, of course, about NKU and seeing them play as well. So, I mean, you know, maybe down the road there'll be I know they probably won't do it because the history of the crosstown shootout, but maybe a nice little regional kind of thing that a couple of years ago when I bantered it around saying, hey, what about NKU, UC, Xavier, and Miami, or those and Dayton in doing a thing and doing an event was kind of poo-pooed, but now it's a possibility.
It could happen, like a holiday classic or something,
Exactly.
Like a little tournament around Christmas time. That'd be cool.
Oh, that would be. I mean, that would be great. It would help all four of the teams and just, help get a spotlight on the tri-state area and how great, just the high level of talent that the teams have. So, there's a lot of potential and a lot of bright future there.
Yep.
As always, of course, we'd like to, thank the fans for tuning in to UC Bearcats on the Prowl. And, of course, as always, we're glad to have Mark Fightmaster. And, of course, we were lucky enough to have Terry Nelson again this week. So just want to thank the fans for tuning in. And, obviously, we look forward to a show again next week. Any final thoughts, Mark?
No, it's just I thought it was a great opportunity to have Terry on the night. Give him a follow on at least I'm on Twitter. I follow him on Twitter. It's at TNell33. He's awesome.
Excellent.